Hey everyone, this is Anders with Atom Audio, and today we're going to be talking all about immersive audio. What it is, how to use it, and the equipment you will need to start mixing and producing in immersive. In this video, we will cover quite a few topics related to immersive audio, including Sony 360, Dolby Atmos, Apple's Spatial format, monitoring systems, interfaces and speakers, room design, and more. We've added chapter markers for easy navigation, and for those who want to dive even deeper, all the details we'll be covering today are available in our comprehensive Immersive Audio Expert Guide. Download the full PDF using the link below. First off, what does immersive audio even mean? Immersive audio, also called spatial or 3D audio, is a technology that creates a three-dimensional sound environment for the listener. Traditional stereo or surround sound systems typically arrange sound in a two-dimensional space, while immersive audio places sound around you. It allows for a more realistic and engaging auditory experience, as sounds can come from any direction, above, below, and all around the listener. Today, more than 2.5 billion playback systems and devices are capable of decoding and playing back music created and mixed in immersive formats. And this number continues to grow. Devices ranging from AVR systems and soundbars to mobile devices and even automobiles are being enabled alongside digital streaming providers to support playback of immersive formats. Some of the key features of immersive audio include height channels. So in addition to left, right, and surround channels, height channels add a vertical dimension to the experience. Object-based audio. Instead of assigning sounds to specific channels, sounds are instead treated as objects that can be placed anywhere within a three-dimensional space. And head tracking. Some immersive audio systems, including Apple AirPod Pros, use sensors to track the listener's head movements and adjust the sounds accordingly to maintain spatial accuracy. There are various applications that use immersive audio, including virtual reality, augmented reality, gaming, cinema, and music production, to provide a more lifelike and enveloping experience. And today's most widely adopted immersive audio delivery platforms are proprietary technologies from companies like Sony, Dolby, and Apple. These platforms enable listeners and professionals to experience and produce immersive audio content, enhancing the realism and depth of sound in various applications. We'll cover each of these technologies throughout this video, and we'll start today with Sony 360. Sony's 360 sound technology enables listeners to build and experience immersive audio on various platforms, content, and devices. Sony has developed tools for mixing audio in a 360-degree spherical shape to give listeners a sense of full immersion in the musical experience. And the Sony 360 Walk Mix Creator is the main tool. Walk Mix Creator is a plugin that creates spherical space to place audio as objects or groups in a 360-degree sphere. It can be used widely in many digital audio workstations, including recent versions of Ableton, Logic, Cubase, Nuendo, Pro Tools, Sequoia, Studio One, and more. For a detailed overview of how to work with objects when mixing in Walk Mix, we've outlined a step-by-step process in our guide. Both speakers and headphones can be used to mix Sony 360 reality audio for a robust audio experience. Choosing one method over the other often comes down to cost. Using speakers to mix requires an environment with 13 speakers plus subwoofers for optimal bass management. The system layout consists of an LCR, left, center, right setup for the front overhead plane with two rear left and right height monitors, an LCR for the surround plane at ear level, and two more LCRs for the middle, left, and right monitors. The lowest monitors are placed at floor level with an LCR in the front. This configuration provides 9 monitors in the front, minus the subwoofers, offering the best representation of the room's Sony 360 reality audio experience. Another option is using headphones in the Sony 360 Virtual Mixing Environment, or VME. Sony 360 VME is a spatial sound technology that reproduces the acoustic environment of a mixing studio with a seating capacity of over 300 people, all through a pair of headphones. It is designed to accurately recreate the immersive audio field of a studio with multiple speakers using proprietary measurement technology. Sony 360 VME is personalized using the listener's head-related transfer function in the binaural processing. HRTF describes the response that characterizes how an ear receives a sound from a point in space. Listeners locate the sound source based on differences in the arrival time and volume of sound reaching their left and right ears. Even when listening to sound from the same source, the shape of the listener's ear and other factors affect what they hear, and the HRTF expresses these changes to reproduce an acoustic field with multiple loudspeakers, a virtual mixing room, through headphones. Now that we've given a broad strokes overview of Sony 360, we'll move on to the Dolby Atmos platform. Similar to Sony 360, Dolby Atmos is an advanced immersive audio format that gives creators full control over sound placement. It allows for precise positioning of audio elements in a three-dimensional space, delivering a more lifelike and immersive listening experience. To mix in Dolby Atmos, you'll need three essential components: a compatible DAW that supports Atmos mixing, the Dolby Atmos renderer to process spatial audio, and a compatible monitoring system to accurately hear the mix. Compatible DAWs for Dolby Atmos feature different levels of ability and integration. Some DAWs require the Dolby Atmos renderer to be linked, while others include full Dolby Atmos internal rendering. Dolby Atmos Music Panner, which comes with the renderer, is commonly used to support DAWs that don't feature native immersive panning. For the full list of compatible DAWs, download our Immersive Audio Expert Guide, where we list every DAW and the compatibility options. The Dolby Atmos renderer is the software responsible for monitoring the mix and generating the final master files. It is available in two configurations. The Dolby Atmos renderer application runs alongside a compatible DAW on Mac OS via Core Audio, using the Dolby Audio Bridge, or on Windows through a dedicated workstation. It supports audio I/O via Dante or MADI, allowing for seamless audio transfer between the DAW and the renderer on a separate workstation. Some DAWs feature built-in Dolby Atmos rendering, eliminating the need for additional software to create Atmos mixes. However, these built-in renderings may lack some advanced features of the standalone Dolby Atmos renderer application, so users may still benefit from using the full renderer. Now let's talk about monitoring systems and speakers. Dolby Atmos is designed for flexibility by allowing users to create within an object-based format. To properly route Dolby Atmos beds and objects, an audio interface with at least 12 main outputs is required. This ensures enough outputs for a 7.1.4 speaker layout, which we'll cover in the next section, and an additional headphone output for monitoring the binaural Dolby Atmos mix from the renderer. For example, the Focusrite Red 16-line Thunderbolt interface offers 18 analog outputs, more than enough for a 9.1.6 setup. Two front panel headphone outputs allow for binaural Dolby Atmos mix monitoring, while keeping a separate output for Apple's spatial audio reference. For a more scalable setup, you can use something like the RedNet PCIe NX card, plus a RedNet A16R Mark II, which provides 16 channels of I/O, supporting up to a 9.1.6. Below, we've linked these interfaces along with additional resources to help you choose the right audio interface for your immersive setup. Now we'll talk about speakers for a Dolby Atmos setup. The minimum requirement for a Dolby Atmos speaker setup is 7.1.4. The first number refers to the number of ear-level speakers in the system, in this case 7 speakers. The second number refers to the number of subwoofers. And the last number refers to the number of height speakers, or speakers above ear-level listening. We'll dive into this further in the room design section. While a 7.1.4 speaker system is the minimum recommendation, many professional studios leverage a 9.1.6 speaker system for playback. The main difference between a 9.1.6 speaker layout and a 7.1.4 layout is the use of what are called wides. A 9.1.6 placement adds 2 speakers directly outside the perimeter of the left and right speakers, which helps define the wider imaging between the left, right, and the surround speakers. One example of a 7.1.4 system would be using 7 Atom Audio A7Vs for the surround speakers, 2 Atom Audio Sub-12s for the sub-channel, and 4 Atom Audio A4Vs for the height speakers. This is an excellent system for a small to medium-sized room. If you want to go bigger, a large room could have 9 Atom Audio S3Vs for the surround speakers, 2 Atom Audio Sub-15s, and 6 Atom Audio S2Vs for the height speakers. Ultimately, the size of the room determines which monitors should be used. Once you have a solid understanding of the necessary software and hardware for immersive audio, you may decide to create a dedicated Dolby Atmos studio. Designing an immersive space involves 7 key steps. While we're covering some aspects in previous sections, setting up a properly optimized room requires additional considerations to ensure accurate sound reproduction and an optimal mixing environment. The 7 steps to designing a Dolby Atmos mix room are defining the room dimensions, defining the mix position, positioning the ear level speakers, positioning the overhead speakers, positioning the subwoofers, and consider bass management options, choosing the speaker models, choosing an audio interface, and considering speaker management requirements. Dolby Atmos Room Design Tool, or DART, automatically places speakers at the optimum angles within specified dimensions. Speaker positions can then be adjusted as required by altering the X, Y, and Z coordinates. These coordinates refer to the position of the speaker baffle. If any specified speaker locations fall outside the recommended angular and placement tolerances, the cell's color will turn yellow, and a feedback hover message will be available. Once the speaker positions are established, the Design Printout tab will show auto-generated room plans to assist with final speaker positioning. Now we'll move on to positioning the LFE. The Low Frequency Effects channel is a dedicated audio channel designed to handle bass frequencies, typically routed to one or more subwoofers for accurate low-end reproduction. In a Dolby Atmos mix room, the LFE channel is essential, representing the 0.1 in a speaker configuration such as 7.1.4. Bass management is the process of redirecting low-frequency energy from non-full-range speakers to a subwoofer, meaning speakers that don't reproduce bass down to 40 Hz. This can be the LFE channel subwoofer, one or more dedicated bass management subwoofers, or a combination of both. Bass management is highly recommended for all non-full-range speakers, again, speakers that don't reach down to 40 Hz. It is commonly used for overhead and ear-level surround speakers, which are often smaller models with limited bass response. It can also be beneficial for the left, right, and center speakers to ensure a more balanced and controlled low-frequency performance. There are no fixed rules for subwoofer placement, as room acoustics greatly influence low-frequency performance. So to achieve optimal results, it's best to consult an acoustician who can analyze the space and determine the most effective placement. For LFE channel subwoofers, a common starting point is along the front wall, positioned midway between the center and either side. However, again, placement should always be tested and adjusted based on the room's unique acoustic characteristics. Now we'll move on to room calibration. Room calibration helps ensure consistent sound across all the speakers in the room, so that an object moving around the sound field will sound the same regardless of the position in the room. Proper calibration also helps maintain mix translation, ensuring that Dolby Atmos mixes sound accurate across different environments, from professional mixing rooms to commercial playback systems and consumer devices. Again, before calibrating a room, it's best to consult a professional acoustician, room design company, or audio tuning professional to tune your room properly. For additional documentation to assist with room calibration and tuning for the immersive space, we've provided links throughout the Immersive Guide linked below. Now, before delivering your completed Dolby Atmos project, conduct a thorough quality control check to ensure your mixes translate accurately and sound exactly how you intended. This step helps verify that every element is properly balanced, spatialized, and optimized for the best listening experience across different playback systems. When submitting a Dolby Atmos project for release, you must meet specific technical requirements, including resolution and bitrate specifications, frequency response guidelines, and loudness standards. Again, we go into much more depth on these requirements within the expert guide, which you can download below. When delivering a project for release on Apple Music, there are additional considerations when preparing music for release. Apple applies its own immersive sound technology to the Dolby Atmos deliverable, called spatial audio. Apple's spatial audio technology uses sensors within their products, including the AirPod Pro and Max models. These sensors track a listener's head movements, and the data is used to create a virtual space based on those movements. This process is specific to the binaural render of a project. It does not apply to the discrete speaker playback deliverable. To experience immersive music, listeners must ensure that their playback devices, from headphones to speaker systems, can decode and play the format. Now we'll touch on some best practices for working within Dolby Atmos. First, we'll talk about the renderer settings. There are a few ways to configure settings in the Dolby renderer that are integral for mixing. There are also multiple settings for the trim and downmix setting page. Recommended settings for these pages are usually found in the labeled delivery spec guides, which can be found on their respective websites. The Dolby Atmos binaural settings allow mixers to control the perceived depth of elements within the binaural headphone mix, which listeners can experience on Tidal and Amazon. There are 4 settings for each bed position and object: off, mid, near, and far. These settings correspond to the amount of binauralization, or depth, applied to the element. Off has no binauralization, while far has the most. After panning, these settings provide additional tools to make an element seem closer or farther away from the listener. The world of immersive mixing is still evolving, but in our expert guide, we've listed some key tips and best practices for mixing in Dolby Atmos, a few standards that industry experts have agreed upon to help ensure their mixes sound their best. You can download that in the link below. We do recommend setting up a way to monitor the stereo master, the full Atmos speaker mix, the 2.0 re-render, the binaural re-renders, and the Apple Spatial audio. This will ensure translation to the different DSPs and playback mediums. It's also important to note how panning positions translate to headphones, especially within Apple's spatial audio format. Front, left, right is just that in Dolby Atmos. They are in front of you. Pan slightly left and slightly right. The widest pan positions are the side speakers. Comparing this to stereo, panning an element to the side speakers will achieve a similar result as hard panning left and right in stereo. Now we'll touch on setting up a session for Dolby Atmos. When starting a session, some practices will help you meet all delivery requirements. First, import all the stems and the stereo master. Then align the stems exactly to the stereo master. You may need to decrease the stem level up to 10 dB to have a good starting point to meet the -18 LKFS requirement. At this point, decide which elements will stay in the bed and which elements will function as objects. Typically, static elements will remain in the bed, and elements that will be automated around the room will become objects. Elements that could become objects include vocal spins and throws, vocal delays, synths, guitar lines, and transitional elements from one section of a song to another, like cymbal swells and risers. Compare how the stems feel and sound compared to the stereo master. They may need to be glued back together to feel like the original mix. Having those foundational elements, compression, EQ, limiting, etc., in the bed allows you to process them like a traditional stereo mix. This can be extremely helpful depending on the genre and the amount of mix bus processing completed in the stereo mix. Next, compare the individual stems to the stereo master to ensure that the levels of the stems align with those in the stereo mix while also monitoring the 2.0 re-render. This ensures that the levels of the elements in the Dolby Atmos mix are consistent with the stereo master. Afterwards, begin panning the objects around the room. Keep in mind that the volume of elements will change as you move them within the space, so you may need to make adjustments to maintain a mix that mirrors the balance of the stereo master. This is a general guideline, but for creative panning, keep the drums, bass, and other foundational elements in the front left and right speakers. From there, you can gradually expand the sound across the room. While vocals typically stay centered in the front left-right speakers, electric guitars can fill out more of the space by panning them slightly further back, off the front left-right speakers. Height speakers are a great tool for immersing the listener, so consider using them creatively. For elements that don't carry as much low-frequency content, such as higher-pitched synth sounds, pedal steel, and certain vocal effects, the height speakers work well for adding depth without overwhelming the mix. It's also helpful to reference other Dolby Atmos mixes to get a sense of common panning techniques, and most importantly, always compare your mix to the stereo master. Typically, the Dolby Atmos mix is completed after the stereo mix and stereo master have been finalized and approved. As immersive audio continues to evolve, it opens up a wealth of creative, technical, and scientific opportunities, and we wanted to highlight just a few of these careers in this dynamic field. For example, sound designers work on creating sound effects, ambience, and other audio elements for games, virtual reality, augmented reality, and films. Audio research scientists develop new techniques and technologies in spatial audio and work in academia, research labs, or company R&D departments. Again, this is just scratching the surface, but if you're interested in a career in immersive audio, download the Immersive Audio Expert Guide below to see a comprehensive list of professional opportunities. While this guide includes expert audio engineers' views on what you need to know to understand and begin developing skills in immersive audio, there's so much more to experience and learn. Seek out a Dolby Atmos or Sony 360 studio, or demonstration room at a music and audio retailer, visit a local campus with Dolby Atmos or Sony 360 listening rooms, or a Dolby theater to watch and listen to a film. Lastly, check out headphones or earbuds that support spatial audio. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. To learn more about immersive audio, download the expert guide below, or visit Focusrite.com or adam-audio.com.